Welcome, Buy Round fans, to a very important edition of the Buy Round with James Graham. Jimmy, we're here today under circumstances that are very important to you. You've been wanting to do this for a while. We're here to talk about your mental health and how it's been for the last 12 months, 24 months. It's great to be here with you, first of all.
Oh,
hello.
Thanks, Charlie.
How are you, my friend? Very formal start from me.
Yeah, very formal start. I was just going to do a rockbuster.
Yeah. Have you got one for us?
I have got one somewhere in there, but I'll save it for the start of next year.
And what about the West Tigers as well?
Yeah,
Jeez, they're in the headlines again.
Geez, yeah, the gift that keeps on giving. No, but it's the correct word that you used there actually to intro the show about it's an important chat. So yeah, I'll talk about some personal things that have happened this year, but just recently I've been invited to speak at two events around mental health and got told a little bit about my story. We looked at like the stigmas involved and how and why it's important, and had some really positive feedback from it, and thought, well, why not have this discussion instead of in small rooms to a small number of people, sort of open it up to our listeners and have that conversation and have this chat to everybody, so that they can get the benefit from that. Because a number of people approached me after these two events and thanked me for speaking, and again it's strange for me to have this conversation on a number of levels. Firstly, because I just consider myself to be a knockabout person. Like, when we talk about identity and who you are, I don't see myself as like this ex-footballer or this podcaster or this media person or whatever that label is for some people, or the former Bulldogs captain, the former England player, St. Helens Dragons player, whatever it may be. But I'm not naive enough to know that that's not. It puts you in a certain position to other people, that relationship with other people. But also there's an awkwardness of it, because this goes out to it was just awkward, isn't it? You know that your friends, your family, your loved ones are gonna hear this and perhaps not have that same that maybe it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, there's still a stigma around it all, isn't it? Even though we're trying to break down that stigma in society, I know there'll be a lot of men listening to this and women that aren't comfortable speaking about their emotions with other people, and they're not comfortable about putting their hand up when they're going through a tough time. A lot of the time for men, we just try and grit it out and get through the day or the week or the month and try and just push through without putting our hands up when we're struggling. So I think it's important that you want to do it on this scale as well, because there's going to be a lot of people listening going through the same stuff as you.
Yeah, and look, I think I think my brain is very overactive. I think about life a lot, why are we here, and the importance of pushing through, and how that served me so well, just pushing through difficult moments, mainly physically difficult, some emotional as well. The stigma thing is funny. I said this at one of the talks, like, if you've got a problem with me and my mental health issues, then that's on you. I can't control that. Only you can control it. And whatever, like, maybe there's a stigma on people that have the stigma, but really I use this phrase that if you've got a problem with it, please take a ticket, get in line and kiss my ass, because I don't care. That's on you to have that problem and that issue with it. And I think back to, like, even I've looked at, like, what does stigma mean? It means being judgmental. It means having an opinion about something that you maybe don't know anything about. Like, most people, anybody with an issue with someone with mental health issues has clearly clearly never gone through it themselves, or maybe had an association with somebody that has gone through that, or maybe unaware of someone that has gone through it. I think most people in today's society would be shocked at just how many people do suffer. You know, I spoke about my friend Bryn, who's no longer with us. He, ultimately, suffered significantly enough that he paid the ultimate price with it. But I can think back to a time in my football career, Charlie, where I judged or had a stigma, maybe about mental health, but this is a different one. Like, I had a judgment about people that didn't play because of back spasms. I can actually think back, and there was a play that he pulled out of a game because he had a back spasm. I was like, how can, like, it can't be that bad.
Yeah.
And then I had a back spasm in the game, and like I thought I was going to feature on like the 6 o'clock news. It was that bad.
Your
like,
career was over.
Oh man, it was just no one's ever experienced pain like it before. You don't know what it's like. Like, your legs go like jelly. You can't move a millimeter. It's like it's the closest thing to feeling like being paralyzed you can go without being permanently paralyzed. It just horrendous amount of pain and discomfort. And you know, if someone then there from that moment on had back spasms, and I was like, mate,
you were empathetic, mate. Have a month off.
have
6 weeks off.
Geez,
Just
yeah,
get
I'm
right.
wrong with,
Get
mate, is there
right.
anything I can do for you? So yeah, the whole stigma thing. Look, I understand it, because I guess maybe when I was younger, I'd be like, well, you just crack on. And the bizarre thing is, Charlie, like my life is good. It's fun. Like, I have no really like glaring issues that on the surface you go, oh, yeah, I can understand why your head's not right at this particular moment. And it's my understanding that, you know, for mental health, there is a huge genetic component, which I think plays a part in what I'm currently going through. There's environmental, there's situational. You know, some people like genuinely are doing it tough. Like, they have financial pressure. You know, they've an uncontrollable illness effect, and like, you go, like, I get why you're feeling down, and why life is a struggle. And you know what? Like, bizarrely, I almost envy that, to be like, I wish I had something to like actually justify feeling this way at times. And it comes in waves, and I guess for a lot of people that know me, it's easy to disguise a lot of the time. And maybe it's not even disguise. Maybe it's just, you know, the mood swings based on the situation. Like, it can be difficult to articulate, because I'm not always feeling this way. Sometimes you just go, why am I, what? Like, I slap myself in the face hypothetically and be like, why am I feeling like this? And yeah, it's.
Well, I was going to ask how it does manifest and how these periods are. Is it, when you say it comes in waves, is it like comes in waves during a day, or comes in waves during a week, a month, or does the wave last a series of days? Like, how does that work?
That's it almost feels like it can change like the wind. Like, it can be on top of the world one moment, feeling great, and then, you know, something happens and it's like, oh, here we go again.
So there's little trigger points that happen.
Yeah,
that can...
sometimes it's situational, like being at home, or, you know, using alcohol mainly a lot of the time as well. Sometimes that can, you know, great in the short term, not so great the next. But
to the day after.
Yeah, yeah. Which I mean, most people would understand and get like that, but it's funny. Like people talk about like balance in life. I don't have that balance. It's for me. It's like go hard at everything. And that includes like going hard at like partying, like go hard, like go. Then wake up the next day hungover, dealing with the mental health. They'll go hard for running. Like I run a lot, like which I've actually found is so beneficial for mental health, like running in particular. And I do weight training as well, but I find running in particular really helpful. I've completed a marathon, signed up to the Backyard Ultra. Like these things really help keep me in check. But then finished like a really hard run, and then want to get back and go hard on either on the drink again or eating or whatever it may, working. Like it's not a balancing act. It's an all in, all. And you know what? It's funny because I take my training like quite seriously. Arguably even, no, probably not. I was going to say more than when I was an athlete. Like, but so medically prescribed testosterone and peptides to help with the recovery side of things. So I'm like extreme in terms of like looking after my body, but then extreme in terms of like abusing the body as well at the same, like literally in the same day. Yeah. So, have the injections to get over the injuries, go for like a massive run. Well, I'll give you an example of a day that I had not that long ago. So it was a Friday. I did High Rocks in the morning out at Homebush, came back from High Rocks, went and did a shoulder and arms workout, went into work at Triple M, went to the Bulldogs game to do like a bit of corporate stuff, and then went out on the drink and had a massive night.
Yeah. And
this is all in the space of like 20 hours.
I remember this day, and I remember thinking, Jesus, Jimmy's manic today. He's got a lot on. Like, it's like, do you think you're like addicted to busyness? Like, I know you're a man of extremes, but do you think you're actually addicted to being busy?
Potentially, like it could be, it could be something like that. Yeah, where I've got like a stimulation, addicted to being
stimulated.
Yeah, stimulated in one way or another.
But then something's going to give in your body and your mind if that's the case, because humans need rest. Like humans need to have rest. So if you're constantly doing something over and over again, constantly moving, somewhere in your body, your mind, you're going to burn out. Well, I think, and your body's in great nick, but the mind is what's been hit.
Yeah. Well, I think, it's. I'm not very good at being bored. Like, I just feel like I need something to do, and quite often, like at the moment, a lot of that is around like, well, in the holidays, when the football season dials down, a lot of that like something to do is just, I'll just take the edge off or I'll starve the boredom by having a drink or going for a run. And I think it's hard because I wrestle with this. It's like who I was as a person, as an athlete, I didn't get by managing boredom or being bored. I got it by being quite extreme, a very different person. So yeah, I guess finding ways to manage that level of inactivity is very, very difficult for me. To the point where it probably is like detrimental. Like I think back to that day and it's like, what? Like if someone told me they were doing that, I'd be like, why on earth are you going to the gym after you've just done a High Rocks?
You told me that. I was like, in my head, I was like, oh, High Rocks must be really easy then or something. But then High Rocks is like one of the hardest
Yeah,
things.
and I
to
did
do
it as an individual.
physically.
Didn't do partners.
Yeah.
Did like solo. So did like over 8K running, or 8K running, and then there's 8 different exercises in between, and then I couldn't. I kind of felt like I had to go and. Well, I just didn't want to sit at home.
Or have an hour spare.
Yeah, just be like sitting around for an hour.
Is that being like with your own thought? Is that part of that, or is it just you get bored really quickly? How why is an hour at home chilling so awful in your eyes?
I maybe I feel like I can't justify just feeling like I waste an hour. Like I get plenty of thought time in the car. Like I got plenty of thought time, like to stew through a lot of thoughts, and think about different ideas, feelings about like life and death and what's coming up, what we're doing at the buy around, what we're doing at, yeah. So I get that time to mull over things. And I'm quite singular in interest as well. So like rugby league is the only sport that I really watch properly. And I'll talk a little bit more about this later, because actually, like it came up in a conversation with a, well, I'll just talk about it now. It came up in a conversation with a therapist, that he's like, "Do you have any hobbies?" I was like, "No." And then he even said like, "Do you like, what other sports do you watch?" I'm like, "None really. Like I used to watch football or soccer, like, but I kind of just can't really be bothered with it. Don't really watch much like anything else other than rugby league, and maybe even part of me that now is because it's my job, but I just don't know if I have the capacity to take on more. But clearly I do, because other people do. I can't just, I don't know. It's strange not being able to like be interested in other things, and maybe there's an element of like perfectionism that like everything has to be the best. Like I have to be the most, perfectionism / best. Like everything has to, like most nights out have to be like all like, and that's a bit of the all in. Charlie, you know what it's like. It's not just like I'll go for a few quiet beers. It's like, no, let's go out to as late as possible.
Yeah.
And really push it, and then don't even dare be hungover. Like just let's go again. Like
Did that start in football, in that highly competitive environment where you got to be the best, or was that pre coming into football as well? Were you always like that?
It's funny, I can't really remember life without it, but I think football kind of actively encouraging. There's maybe the athlete mentality of you're never good enough. Like no performance is ever perfect. That's the correct turn of phrase. No one's played the perfect game. No one's played it. It's like, and even if you look at it, like, let's take a sport like darts, where you could play the perfect game, you guarantee you win, right? You don't miss. That's never happened. So like a darts player would look and be like, oh, missed that one. And like with footy, we'd analyze every run, every tackle that you're involved in, and then you get your team analysis. And even if we won the game convincingly, they'd be striving for perfection, striving for the absolute best. And I don't know if that was already ingrained in me, but it's kind of it's one of, and not necessarily for in a negative way, because it has helped me in certain areas of life, but it's something that football has sort of like left with me. It's like a legacy effect.
Yeah. Because perfectionism, you're never going to get it.
No,
Anything.
exactly. Yeah.
Like anything you do ever, you're never going to get it. So chasing perfectionism is just such a waste of your time, because nothing's ever going to be perfect. So
No,
why do you want perfection?
Well,
life is great when it's not perfect as well.
The anxiety that you waste by struggling to be perfect, that you're never going to achieve, you're better off just accepting your
not punishing yourself for
imperfections. Yeah,
exactly. Rather than punishing yourself.
Yeah,
yeah. Because we speak a lot, obviously, about mental health and that sort of stuff, and it does feel like the last 12 months have been tougher for you than previous years. Is that the case? Is that fair?
Yeah. So I think back and go, when you're a kid, I don't know, what I thought was normal probably wasn't. And then I transferred out of school straight into professional sport, where, again, just thinking that this is normal. And I think there was like all these things I've spoken about, like being a bit like having depression, anxiety, struggle for perfectionism, all these thoughts. I think sport really helped me, because just to go back around, like the need to plan future events. Like, I'm not good with 3 days and not having a plan for the day, like setting like where, or even like if we're for dinner, where are we going, or where, if we're at a pub, where are we going next? Like I have to know. And football was really good, and sport was really good for that structure of, I knew what the next week looked like, the next month, the next year, the off season next year. Like it's all was set in stone. I actually used to get anxious when I was playing for England, not knowing what the international calendar looked like. Because where could we be? Are we going to be in Australia, or are we going to be here? And it's like stupid anxiousness. And maybe it's not, it's just that quest for needing for certainty. But so sorry, just going back, probably football helped with that. And the group probably was my therapy in a way, like spending time with similar people with similar values, similar drives. And with group, it was group therapy. Yeah. Like at times. And then it wasn't until I came out of sport, and then the COVID lockdown here in New South Wales, that combination really put me on it exposed a lot of, I guess you could call it the mask of sport. No, maybe not the mask, like
the security blanket.
Yeah. Like it exposed me personally to what real life was like. Like, so all that, almost that therapy had gone, and I was out and then the environmental effect, the situational effect rather, of this COVID lockdown that we'd had before, but I hadn't really as an athlete. It didn't really exist for athletes. We were still out and about and doing our thing. So that hit really hard. Sort of got some help there and then in the mid 2021. Big shout out to Stefan Eriksson, the Dragons doctor, for helping me through that very difficult period, and it was instant relief. Like it really was. I can't explain how beneficial that was, reaching out to my doctor and him aligning me with a therapist and giving me some medication, which just complete game changer. And things were sort of going okay, sort of managing it, and not just getting through, but I think going okay, going pretty well. And obviously, like I say, there was ups and downs throughout the like life is for everybody. going okay. But then this particularly, like this last 12 months, Charlie, you're right, it has been hard, and there's, you know, probably a number of different reasons why that has happened. But yeah, so obviously you know about this, but not many people do. But I made the decision to go to rehab this year. When I said that I was away on holiday, it was actually I was a week in a facility for mental health, which probably wasn't long. Well, it wasn't long enough. You're supposed to stay there for 3, but due to the job, I couldn't disappear for 3 weeks. Like disappearing for 1 week was difficult enough. But to stretch it out to 3,
See, some people will be listening saying, "Forget about your work."
I know
your work's irrelevant.
Yeah,
compared to your
and they're
mental
right. They're right. They are right, Charlie. But again, I'm pretty good at justifying things, and like if I was involved in an accident or had an illness, and I needed 3 weeks off work, I'd do it. But this, for some strange reason, and I guess maybe the one of the reasons I didn't is because then people would know. But why would I care if people know or not? Yeah. Why would I? Yeah, and I'm still wrestling with that. Like even now, like, but for anybody who's on that I guess that crossroad of needing to go away, I can't recommend it highly enough. Like it had a really good short-term fix for me. I felt like a new person. I was just so nerve-wracking going in, but you know, in the week I spent there, I felt like I learned so much. Sort of started to see things differently, but I have slipped back into sort of like old habits. Not to an extent. I just have.
And that's the old habits. Is that drinking?
Yeah, a lot of excessive, unnecessary abuse of alcohol. Yeah, and you know what? I gotta say this about one of the real eye openers about going into rehab was the number of what I would describe as middle-aged women in there. I was blown away. Like, and there was so many different people from different walks of life that you go, like, you feel anytime you go into a new situation, you're kind of trying to get a scope, right? I'm scoping it out. If you go somewhere like that, you're trying to scope out like who's in here, because again, you've got this preconceived idea of like what a rehabilitation center looks like, and or hospital as it was. Well, sorry, no, it's not hospital. Well, yeah, it is and it isn't. But we do. I was in like part of like a group, and I'm thinking, what are you like? You don't look like someone who should be here. You look like, and not look like, they actually were like 50-year-old women that, you know, had grandkids, but they're there getting the help. And they've got some, I guess maybe some issues that you wouldn't look and know about, but they just looked like everyday people. And it was disproportionate amount of women to men. And I was like, that hit me. Like, I was like, this says something, that women get the help that they deserve and men arguably don't. Like, it really like took me back, and I'd speak to them, and even it made me think about other members of society in like a different way, and maybe even my own family members, where you go like, oh, you know, some people just going through stuff, or they've got things happening, and it was really encouraging, but it was also really like, well, where are the blokes here? Like, why aren't they getting the help that they need?
Yeah, and it's tough as a man, because also with drinking such a big part of our friendships as well, and it's often seen as something of an impressive thing. The person who drinks the most, you know, it's he's a big drinker. Like, But really, like that person might be having some really serious issues with drinking, and that's why they are able to drink as much as they are. But we don't necessarily, as men, see it, and even in ourselves, we don't necessarily see it until often it's too late and you're down a slippery slope.
Yeah, and look, it is something that I guess I'm looking to curb, but you know, I did the podcast on concussion, and you know, the advice from the doctors, and this, like, you need to really pull back, and even with that, I guess, I don't know, like I spoke before about balance in life, and like I said, I think about like life and death quite a lot, and like I think about like life expectancy, what the pros and cons, what's affecting my longevity, health span, and alcohol is one of those things. But I guess I've justified it as a price I'm willing to pay. Like, I'd rather have the fun social side of alcohol, even though there's going to be a detrimental effect. And that is stupid to actually hear those words come out.
Yeah. It's interesting hearing you saying that as well, when you know, you're aware that alcohol is one of your biggest issues in your life, and you're aware it's going to affect your long-term health, but you are still justifying that drinking's okay.
Yeah, well, I won't plead ignorance with it. Like, and it was the same with, like, with everything around concussion and head impact. I was never going to plead ignorance and be like caught out. Like, I knew what I was doing. I knew what I signed up for. And it's probably the same with the booze. And some people do it without the knowledge, and they just almost forget, or they don't want to know. So I looked at like life expectancy, and I think about that a lot. I actually had you know when you see, like the average life expectancy for a male born in Australia or the UK today would be X, and the average life expectancy for a woman born in Australia or the UK or wherever, it's Y. And there's a difference, right, between
a couple of years normally,
men and women's life expectancy, and you sort of take that as like, well, that's my life expectancy. Actually, having a conversation with the old St. Helens doctor, wow, this must have been like almost like 15 years ago, maybe, yeah. And he worked at a practice next to the area of Liverpool that I grew up, literally one suburb over. That's where his practice was. And he goes, and he talking about the area and stuff, and he goes, oh, yeah, the life expectancy of just by being born, or sorry, just by living in that area, the average life expectancy is reduced by 10 years. I'm like, what? I thought it was just and because we hear these national life expectancies, and that's what that, and I was like, well, what do you mean? And he said that there's a whole number of reasons as to why life expectancy changes on geographical location.
Yeah.
And so I said, oh, like for men and women, he's like, yeah. I said, oh, I brought up, so, and then the conversation evolved, and he spoke about the number of reasons why it was why it was negative, like why it had a detrimental impact to life expectancy. And then I said, oh, would something like teenage pregnancy be something as well? He goes, on the contrary, it actually increases because it gives the mothers almost like a sense of purpose and a reason not to do these detrimental things in that particular area. It was like, and it was so
in those years where you're especially probably doing things that are a bit,
susceptible to things. I was like, oh, that's really interesting. So and even then, I've gone back and maybe this is to justify it. Maybe it's a bit of appreciation for the life that we have, but up until about the 150 years ago, which isn't that long, so the late 1900s, which is not that long ago. Go back to talking about the UK and life expectancy. 25% of people born didn't see their 5th birthday, and a further 25% of people didn't see past their teenage years. And so almost population was stagnant. It remained the same for a long period of time, and then due to advancements in like medical, in that medical field, like life expectancy like shot up. So I look back and go, well, I've already won the lottery of life by making it to 40. Like I've, by going past 5th birthday, like. And if you look at other areas of the globe now, like we've got it pretty good, and maybe that is my way of just saying, well, based off the 8 billion people currently on the planet and however many people have come before us, that I've had it good.
But shouldn't that be a reason to want to be around as long as possible? Like based on the 8 billion people, you've won this lottery in life and you're in this spot where you can enjoy this life, and you got 2 young girls as well, who are watching them grow old as well as part of that life you're going to live as well.
Yeah, that is a great point, Charlie. And it's And you're right.
What you're saying as long as possible. Like if I clip my fingers and live forever, I'd live forever.
Would you?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you do. Well, again, like what do you want to live for? Like, is there an experience? Well, like, do you want to experience, like,
well, as long as I got my friends, family, loved ones around, that's all you need. And I guess you, by clicking your finger, you're hoping that it's everyone's. You wouldn't want to click your fingers and live forever and have.
Yeah, watching all your mates die.
That wouldn't be the same. But if we could all live forever, like, why wouldn't we want to do that?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like, you don't need to live for anything.
But you not want to? But if you're just existing, though, see that is like my idea of almost hell, like existing forever without any form of stimulation and experience that is gonna maybe shave off, or like the appetite for risk and thrill and
Well, mate, I love drinking. If I'm being honest, I love drinking. I've probably had issues with alcohol and drugs from a teenage age. I was a huge. I started drinking when I was 12 years old, if I'm being honest, and pretty much got drunk every weekend from when I was 14 until now almost. Like, there would be only a few weekends I've missed. I'm getting to an age now where I've sort of got that out of my system. I'm not wanting to do that as much. But yeah, I guess I have never really thought about how much impact it's probably had. But at the same time, like, I think it's important to want to exist as well, and just be comfortable with existing, not for a reason, but just enjoy what we have around us as well.
Yeah. No, I don't know
if I articulated myself very well.
I know what you're saying, and I don't know. I'd probably view life more as like life is there to enjoy.
Yeah.
But then it probably hit home actually, and this is I should have said that about why we're having this conversation. Like, my best mate from school, like, we talk every day. Like, it's a bit like nothing important.
That's good though. That's really good. I don't have any friends who I speak to every day.
Like, we literally, like, if you read our WhatsApp conversation, you'd be thinking, like, this is beyond weird.
Yeah, but that's good though.
Yeah.
That's one thing we don't really do as men is text our
Yeah.
mates. Like, we don't.
Yeah. How's your day? What have you been up to?
Never. I don't know
Like-
if I've asked any of my mates how their day was.
Yeah, but we never speak about, like, important stuff. Like,
Yeah.
don't really ask about how our family's getting on or what. It's just, mate, like, you know, just lad stuff and just silly stuff. But when I was away on the tour recently, like, having a decent drinking sesh, go off my phone, and, like, when next time we spoke, he said something to me, and it did hit me between the eyes. He's like, lad, I actually genuinely worry you may have done something when I don't hear from you. And I was like, really? And he's like, well, yeah. I was like, what? Like, just because I don't text you back? He's like, well, lad, we speak every day, so if it's 2 days, I'm like, what has happened to him, or has he done something, you know, that, you know, have you taken your own life, kind of thing? I'm like, lad, I'd never do that. I'm more likely to. Well, I've made like, I just, yeah, I'd never ever do that, and I think that's important to know. Like, and he knows that, but he just, like, to hear your friend worry, you're like, geez, mate, like, come on, I wouldn't do that. You know, I'm just boozing and hungover and can't be bothered, kind of thing. But yeah, like, he you know, even like to have that thought of, like, well, no, I would never do that, but I'd run away, as opposed. And again, this is the thoughts that go through your head about, like, well, when you get like this and you go, well, what are the options I've got? Like, never going to take that option, because I fundamentally think it's wrong.
It's good to hear you say
Like,
that.
it's
as well.
fundamentally, like, I think it's wrong. I remember hearing, like, like, this should never be taken the wrong way, but it's something that you could always do tomorrow. But I'd run away, and I always, like, I find myself consumed by thoughts of, like, oh, where am I going to run to? Where am I going to go to? Like, disappear, almost like Kaiser Soze, where you get just, like, gone. You're like, oh, whatever happened to him? No one knows.
But in a sense, then that's like ending your life.
Yeah.
In a sense as well, because all your loved ones will never then see you.
Yeah. But again, like, and I've spoke to my psychologist, like, mate, I know you wouldn't do that, because if you were going to do it, you'd have already done it. I'm like, don't tempt me. But
because, mate, what your mate said, like, there's been points at this year where I've been worried about you, like, mainly like with drinking stuff, and, like, just worried that, like, you seem to sort of have been chasing that a lot more than maybe you have for the previous years.
There's also, like, the self-destruction aspect, and almost, you know what, bizarrely, Charlie, like, ruining things to want to build them back up again. Like, and it happened during, like, my football career, where I'd, like, almost ruined things, and like, chasing that, like, you know, and you know when people say, oh, you never want to be too comfortable, like, you know, the structure of our weeks, like, we work together very, very closely with here at the bar around Triple M, and things do fall into that structured pattern of, we know what's going on, and it's brilliant, but it almost feels like I want to lose everything to have the thrill of trying to win it back, trying to build it back. Like,
I know what you're saying.
Do you like,
it's a selfish way of looking at things, though.
Well, it is, but it would be exciting, and it's a flirt with that idea of, like, yeah. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, like, you want the struggle, you want the chase of of building it back up.
Yeah, and just not being.
But what's the point of all that?
What is the point? Yeah, good.
What is the point?
Great question. What is the point? What's the point in? But what's the point in anything?
Well, we're all pointless at the end of the day. We're all extremely pointless, and everything we're doing is pretty irrelevant. Like, that's just life. That is life, unfortunately.
Yeah,
we're all irrelevant. Yeah. Even, you know what? Even who's one of the greatest musicians of all time? Let's say the Beatles. The Beatles didn't exist, the world would be fine.
Yeah,
they didn't. None of their music was released. We wouldn't be the wiser. We'd all be in a great space. The world would be amazing. Michael Jordan didn't exist. It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't really matter. There'd be another NBA player who was the best player at the time. Like, we're all pointless. Even the people that achieve everything, they're pointless as well. We're all pointless.
Yeah, there's a great Carl Sagan had a saying on it's the pale blue dot, which is really puts things into perspective. It's the photograph. It's the furthest photograph of planet Earth, which is just a speck on a suspended in a sunbeam, and he talks about all the rivers of blood that have been spilled over one corner of a speck of a pale blue dot, and it's us. It's our planet. It's what we call home.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there was the name of the golfer escapes me, but he won a major, and after it, he was just
Scotty Mack. What's his name?
Yeah, who's the golfer?
He's number one at the moment.
Yeah, and he won a major, and he would have, and he was just basically his interview after it, kind of like
Scotty Scheffler. Yeah, thanks, Scotty Scheffler.
Like straight after he's went. It's just like what, like it doesn't really.
Yeah, well, it's the high of it.
Yeah, he's like, what am I doing this for a minute high of winning a golf major?
Yeah.
And then,
well, I had a little moment like that when we did our first big brand deal for the buy round.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, that's so awesome. And then like 2 seconds later, I was like, oh, well, yeah, whatever. Like, it didn't like hit me the way I thought it would. It's like it was life changing what happened. But then like I didn't have this like euphoria that you'd think you'd get. It was like, that's awesome. And then I'm just like, all right, life moves on now.
Yeah, it just moves pretty quickly.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's crazy that we're wired up that way to think you want to chase something. And even that, so if I mess things up here and with my professional life, which is something that I really, it's like going so well, but then like to build it up again, lose it, build it up again, and then what?
But what if you can't build it up again as well?
Well, again,
there's a few people who have never been able to build it back up again.
Yeah.
You know, like you can't always rebuild it. That's the thing. If you destroy something, you can't necessarily. It doesn't come back.
No, you're right.
And career is something that obviously drives you.
Yeah, it's important. It really is. And it's enjoyable.
Yeah,
and it's certainly not. And it's sought after. It's and it's cool. It's fun.
Do you still enjoy it all as much as when like you started doing the media? Like when that first year after footy, where were you? So you're in England. Came back. Were you starting on Triple? Were you on Triple M pretty much full time from there when you came back?
No, it was like part time then.
The Kenty thing happened, didn't it? Kenty Maroon, and then you came in from there.
I was already coming in.
But just doing the last hour.
Yeah, and doing a bit of commentary, and then
that happened. You started doing the full Sunday.
Yeah,
that was the timeline, wasn't it? So did that? That was what year was that? 2022, maybe.
I think so. Yeah,
or 21. One of those years. Yeah. Did that stuff still like? Did the excitement of that being new at the start inspire you, and now a couple of years in, you're not as inspired by it, or do you still find the stuff really enjoyable and like the media stuff? Is it still like scratching that itch? Because when you went from footy, the media was the first thing that you did work wise, wasn't it?
Yes, I had a role at the Dragons. It was very lost actually, like a lost dog after football, which I can talk about after.
No, talk about it now.
Well, let's do like the media thing first.
Yeah.
Like, I guess leaving one industry, going into a new industry, although there's a lot of interchange, a lot of crossover there, it is still a new industry.
Mm-hmm.
So like the buzz and the excitement of trying to make it, in again a lot of high failure rate, just like being a professional athlete was. Sports media is high failure rate.
Yeah, there's only like 7-8 jobs
Yeah.
for ex-rugby league players.
So, like that was a thrill. I guess the thrill to want to like make it, so to speak, in quotation marks, it probably isn't there. There's a drive to stay here. I enjoy talking about the game. I enjoy presenting an argument. I like that people here on the show that like the show or like what I do at Triple M or at Fox or anywhere for that matter, like get that construction of an argument. Like I'm probably wasn't as good of a player just to be able to go after a game. Oh, that was a great game. Oh, I'll tell you what, that player's playing really well. Or, this is happening at said club, and I think that is great, or I think that is bad, or they need to change. So hang on a minute. Why am I going to listen to James Graham say that when I could listen to a future immortal say exactly the same thing?
I mean,
well,
you're one of the greatest players of all time.
No. But what I like to do, what I enjoy is almost formulating arguments like to back up the point. And I listen to a lot of people like that and take like heavily influenced by a number of talkers that can present and talk really well. Probably not reading as much as what I'd like to, but I think it's like it would be like any profession, Charlie, that it's not the same as when you first begin. But the football and leaving that probably wasn't until quite recently that I realized like how much I loved it. Like I loved playing, like loved it. And I look back and I've evaluated like my journey into rugby league. So I wasn't born like most Sydney-siders, most people from New South Wales, Queensland, parts of England that play rugby league, Wigan, St Helens, Leeds, Warrington, Hull. Those kids are born and they almost like it's just part of the fabric of the towns, the cities, the communities that they grow up in. That wasn't the case for me. So I was playing football, like soccer at school, loved being active, loved being physical, loved watching soccer, watching wrestling probably more than anything, like WWF at the time. WCW, like that's what I love to do. And then, look, it is a long story, but my dad and my late grandfather found that there's this rugby league club, sort of gently encouraged me or suggested to me I should give it a try. Like, I don't really know what it is. I'd been aware of rugby union and rugby league on TV, didn't know that there was much of a difference. I'd seen NFL on TV, and then I've gone to play this game like completely unknown to me, and no joke, I like literally fell in love with playing the game there and then, almost in the first 10 seconds. I can recall, memory's a funny thing, but I've got this memory of, and whether or not it's just the story I tell myself, but I've got this memory of playing and literally feeling like I fell in love straight away with playing the game. And I guess, when you actually love something, and it's different, and love is a funny thing, especially with playing a sport. Like you go in and out of love. You have times where you're over it. Like you times where you want to be your absolute best, times where you take it for granted. But then I've not until quite recently where I've realized I was in love with playing it. And we had me and playing the game of rugby league had to separate. We had to. We were no longer compatible due to my age, my injuries, the speed of the game. Like it had gone past me, and I probably could have played a little bit longer and maybe at a lower level and just kept on dining out for as long as possible. But for a multitude of reasons, I wasn't going to do that, and it probably wasn't worth it. You know, talking about like life and death, I knew that was going to be me continuing to play was going to be very detrimental to life expectancy and health span potential. But then I realized like something I loved, I don't do anymore. Like I don't, and I was okay with that, and that's fine. And it was just the way it had to be, and it ends for everyone. It really does. It ends for everyone. But I was like, I didn't grow up with this game being part of my life, and then I'm encouraged to play, and it's just, you know, what we do. Like culture is funny, where rugby league is ingrained in the culture of a lot of communities and areas, cities, states. But for me, it wasn't, and I fell in love. I didn't grow into it just being a part of life, and that I don't know if that's different or whatever, but and a lot of people will know what that feels like. But you're not with the almost like the love of my life was not that everything it gave me. Like the stuff around rugby league is still there. I don't get to play, and I don't want to play either. But it's not there, so it does have an effect on you. It's impossible for it not to.
You have to mourn it, basically. Like you have to mourn that.
I don't know if you mourn it because it's still there.
But do you have to you have to process it that you can't do that anymore? Like the things you're most proud of, are they on the football field in terms of career wise?
Pride, again, you know what? Pride, and being, congratulating yourself is. I explored this a little bit when I was in rehab about like how to express joy and achievement, and it's something that, I think, like the culture that I grew up in, you know, you very much don't express joy and pride and striving for perfection. Like, so the sports environment of perfection, so you're never patting yourself on the back too much, but also growing up in Liverpool, I reckon and in the north of England, and having my grandfather in particular from Cumbria, like you were almost never encouraged to express joy and pride.
Never took yourself up.
Well, yeah, it's just not what we did. And there's different cultures that like celebrate them, and I've celebrated tries before and wins and stuff like that. But yeah, there was a time there towards the end where I'd score and be like, yeah. And maybe that was my mental. You know what? I actually, just going off track a little bit. I watched me and Josh Reynolds did a thing about the Bulldogs 2014 run to the final, and we played Manly in the second week of playoffs, and it was a bizarre game. Anyway, I can't remember if Trent Hockinson kicked the field. I think it was Hocker, and I'm at dummy half. I passed the ball to him, and he nails the field goal, and everyone runs over to Hocker, and I'm stood there, and I look at Cherry Evans and go, "Sorry about that, mate."
Right.
Like, and like that's, and I wasn't until I watched it back. I'm like, you know, why am I not with Hocker there? And there's this whole thing about like expressing joy, and it's just
So is that a respectful thing?
I don't know what. I don't know. And I think as a kid I was like that, and then I wasn't, and then I turned back into that person that was just like, no, you can't. Like, you should never be celebrating. Like, yeah, strange reaction. I don't know if it was shame or guilt or not feeling worthy. I don't know. It was, or just now you're repressed joy.
Yeah.
Or you only celebrate when you've actually won the comp. You can't just celebrate a win. It's just finals. It's weird, right?
That's weird. Yeah. That's a huge moment.
Like to actually say
that's like
sorry
everything.
about. Like I can remember. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah. Because that's what like sport's about, enjoying those moments.
It is.
As
yeah,
fans,
it is.
as players, as everything, coaches.
And maybe there was a fear of having that moment where you're like, yes, and then you lose the next week. You're like, oh, but I'm not on social media anyway, so no one.
What year was that field goal?
2014.
2014, yeah, right. So you guys made the grand final that year, don't you? Yeah.
But yeah, like I guess the whole not playing thing anymore, definitely not until quite recently. Like, and it you know, clubs and the NRL do a fantastic job of putting ceremony around it. Like, I never did the
grand final day
because I moved back to England, but I got invited to do it the year. I was like, I'm not doing that. I almost felt like ashamed. I'm like, I actually think about people like Josh Jackson and Dale Finucane that retired without the ceremony around it. Like Josh Jackson was it 21? Just announced before the preseason. It was one of Cam Sorrello's first actions as the coach of the Bulldogs was to find a new skipper because Jacko told him I can't do it anymore. I was like, Jacko's not had the ceremony. And it's funny how you treat others. Like, he deserves a send-off. And ceremonies within human beings are important. Dale Finucane, another one. So had that concussion, wasn't sure, then made the call, but he didn't get a final game. He didn't get like the send off by his loved ones and his fans to say like thank you.
Yeah.
And you know, funnily enough, like I got a different type of ceremonial leaving the game, but the last half season there with St. Helens was no fans. And I guess like it's like and no family there either to be like, you know.
Yeah, because it was lockdown when you guys.
It was
empty.
yeah.
It was an empty stadium.
Yeah, completely.
Empty stadium,
well, a couple of plastic cutouts, and yeah, that was about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the same though, is it? That
no, it's not. But yeah, and the whole, you know, if someone said would you play tomorrow? I'm like, no, I can't. Like, I'd be busted.
It's those transitional moments are the things that people really struggle with in life as well, is when there's change, and whether it's kids going from school to finish school, what do I do with my life? Where do I go? It's a really tough period for people. People finishing uni, what do I do?
Yeah.
You know, it's those moments of change is what can bring people unstuck. Like it's hard. It's hard. I remember when I was 18 and finishing school, you got no idea what you want to do, and people say you got to pick something, and I had no idea. I literally had no idea. I had zero idea about what I wanted to do with my life. And then I was basically, my mum forced me to go to university, and like basically sent me a thing. Was like, that sounds good, and I was like, oh yeah, that sounds all right. I had no idea. And then uni, I didn't go to like a single class at uni. I had no idea what I wanted to do, and then things just sort of fell in place for what I'm doing now. But I had no goal of doing that at all. Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard when you're in that position of like. Not know. Everyone sort of knows. Everyone knows what they want to do. Well, I didn't know. I just want to go to the beach with my friends. That's
and it's actually okay to not know. Yeah.
It's
a strange one, but we'll wrap it up there, eh?
You want to wrap it up there?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Well, mate, it's good to chat. I think it's important to put your hand up, and I hope you continue to get the help you need. I know you obviously see a therapist every week.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's something that I stopped doing, and I've actually got a new one. So yeah, it's actually, you know, even just one session with him has helped my thinking. And my, you know, there's a question that pops up. So I won't go into it's personal, but it's like, right, okay, yeah, think about that, right? So it's like, can't recommend it enough if anyone is out there that is struggling, like see a therapist, see a therapist, see a doctor. Like, there's medications. The therapy is amazing. The medication helps with a number of things as well around mental health. And if things are that bad, like they were, I can't recommend going to a facility enough. It's something I should have done a lot sooner. And look, I'll probably end up going. Well, like to think I won't, but if I need to, I'd go back and get the full treatment, because a week changed my life. It hasn't had not completely, but it's been impactful enough, and some things from there that will really stay with me for a very, very long time.
Well said, mate.
All right.
Love you, brother.
Cheers,
love
Charlie.
You.
Love you too, mate. Thanks for listening. Oh, no, this is your show, so you can...
Thanks very much for listening to this very special edition of the Bar Round, or very important edition of the Bar Round.
Yeah. And what do you want the answer for the Rockbuster now?
Yeah.
All right. Cheers, Charlie.